Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/ProRevenge. In today's episode, delivery drivers and Taco Bell haters should read this. I cost Taco Bell $1,000. No show to a corporate meeting? We'll see about that. Make my coworkers cry, I will help karma turn your life upside down. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Delivery drivers and Taco Bell haters should read this. I cost Taco Bell $1,000. I was told multiple times to post this here. I originally posted in the Uber Eats sub and have had 100% positive comments on what I did. Proof is on the Uber Eats sub. You can look at my profile and see my post. Ever since the pandemic started, as you all know, a lot of lobbies are often closed and you have to go through the drive-thru. Where I live, everything is pretty much open, but Taco Bell's always hit and miss. Sometimes a single Taco Bell will go back and forth between their lobby being open, so it's a guessing game. Got a Taco Bell order, parked so I could go in, but the door was locked. No big deal. Got back in my car and went through the drive-thru. She told me I needed to come in. I told her I tried. She said, "You need to go in through a different door." I asked if she could just hand it to me through the drive-thru since I had tried to come in already, and she just said no and wouldn't respond to anything else I said. Side note, there was nobody in the drive-thru. It was morning and pretty dead. Irritated, I parked again and tried a different door and it was locked. Tried a third door and I got in. She handed me the food and I said in a friendly tone, "Just so you know, legally, every door for customers have to be unlocked during business hours. It even says that at the top of the doors." She said, "I don't like having all the doors unlocked, so mind your business." We got into a small confrontation there and I left pretty irritated. I called a nearby Taco Bell to ask how to contact the district manager and they got me in touch with him. I told him everything that happened and he told me he was going to call them and call me back. About an hour goes by and he calls me back and tells me that the two doors I tried were broken and they were going to get them fixed, and us delivery drivers need to stop being upset at every little tiny thing and bothering managers. My irritated mood just went from 5 to 10 really fast. He kept going on about how us delivery drivers are just need to learn what it, and how the food industry is sick of us all. I was like, "Sir, just so you know, I'm disabled and having to get in and out of the car a bunch is a hassle, but what if someone really disabled was trying to get in and had to try 3 different doors? Not to mention if there was a fire." It's important to note here that there were 2 different small parties inside eating. So, after he hung up on me, I called OSHA and filed a report, and they told me to call the fire department right away because doors must remain unlocked at all times. Fire department and OSHA have now gotten back to me and I feel justified. They sent me a copy of the locksmith he had to hire to fix the door that he said was supposedly broken and a fine to the city. The fire department had gotten to the store before the district manager, so the doors in question were still locked and they experienced that for themselves. Every time I call Taco Bell corporate, it just hangs up when you select the option to talk to someone, so I called the more local company that owns the Taco Bells around here and turned in the recording of the phone call with the DM. What could have been solved by handing me the order through the window or, God forbid, unlocking the doors, which were not broken, turned into close to $1,000 in fines for that DM and ruined his week. I'm so sick of restaurants treating us like garbage. No show to a corporate meeting? We'll see about that. I'm not sure if this belongs here at ProRevenge or in a different Reddit sub, please let me know if it does, but here it is anyway. The cast, note that none of these names are real, They're all pseudonyms to meet guidelines. Brooke, my sister. Angie, accounting girl. Mark, milquetoast boss. Victor, vice president of operations. This story is about my sister's first job after graduating from college with a bachelor's degree in business management back in the middle 70s. She was hired by that recording tape company whose advertising tagline was, "Is it real, or is it?" Anyway, her job was the travel coordinator for both the sales and tech support teams out in the field to come to the corporate offices periodically for various types of meetings or training, depending on the field employee's specialty. Brooke's responsibilities included booking airline flights, hotels, rental cars, approving per diems, and other travel-related upfront arrangements. It didn't take her long to figure out that there were a lot of no-shows, particularly from the sales staff, who always seemed to have some valid excuse not to make it to the meeting, and often with last-minute cancellations. "I've just booked this golf game with my most important client this week, so can you reschedule me?" type of reasons. Seeing how these cancellations were costing the company big bucks, Brooke hatched a plan that created class rosters for each class, and would, just like a teacher, make notes as to who showed up and who didn't. After the class was over, she would calculate how much those who didn't show up had cost the company in terms of cancellation fees, missed flights, etc., and present them to Mark. His reaction, typical of a middle manager protecting his little fiefdom, would take her report, tell her "I'll look into it," throw it into his inbox, and then promptly forget about it. My sister has a tremendous amount of patience, unless you're being stupid, which, in this case, Mark was, as far as she was concerned. Fast forward a couple of months, the reports are still stacked on top of each other in Mark's inbox, and Brooke's getting real frustrated because these field guys are abusing the time and effort she's putting in while attempting to get them in for their required classes. So one day, Brooke's having lunch in the company cafeteria along with a gal from corporate accounting. They get to talking, and Angie mentions that she's noticed the travel department's expenses are really high, percentage-wise, compared to others, and asks if Brooke has any idea why. Well, that was all it took. My sister unloaded her frustration with all the cancellations with no repercussions, thus sending the travel department's budget off the charts, not to mention the fact she wasn't getting any support from Mark towards reducing the numbers. Brooke tells Angie she's got an idea to put an end to the waste, but she wants to get approval from somebody higher up the food chain in order to implement her idea, because she doubts Mark's ability to comprehend, let alone implement. Angie tells Brooke that she thinks she knows exactly who Brooke needs to talk to, and within a couple of days Brooke and Angie are sitting in a plush corner office talking to the vice president of operations, Victor, explaining the situation. It only took Victor a couple of minutes to make a decision after Brooke described what was going on, plus her idea on how to correct it, and he told Angie that Brooke's idea was brilliant, and that the policy change would become effective on the 1st of month, 10 days later, which he followed up with a memorandum sent to all employees shortly after their meeting was over. Paydays were the 5th and the 20th. Those in the field who had expense accounts had to complete and turn them into accounting by the 5th to be processed and paid along with regular wages, bonuses, and commissions on the 20th. Brooke's policy change idea, with the Victor's blessing, was to charge back against the offender's expense account the costs associated with getting him to his corporate meeting when he didn't show up, airline fares, hotel rooms, rental cars, etc. Sis told me that the first month the policy went into effect, the howls of protest could be heard all over Silicon Valley, as several ended up with minuscule paychecks after the chargebacks. But the policy had exactly the results Brooke wanted. Within 3 months, everyone showed up to their meetings on time as scheduled and virtually without any more no-shows. Epilogue: some adjustments were made to the policy during Sis's tenure, one of them being that if you knew in advance that you couldn't make a scheduled meeting, as long as it was a minimum of 2 weeks' notice, she could then reschedule without penalties. Other situations, such as medical emergencies, were judged on a case-by-case basis, but required documentation to prevent the chargeback. Sis only worked at this company about 18 months before a headhunter stole her away to be the plant manager's administrative assistant when the microchip manufacturer that's in practically everybody's personal computer decided to build a new facility outside of Silicon Valley. She told her new boss she wasn't moving unless he could find her husband a job within the company, and he did, so they did, and they've been in that area ever since. My sister has had a great career, and I'm very proud of her. Edit to add clarification, per my sister's input. 1. Meetings/trainings were held bi-monthly. But with sales and tech support staff spread over 3 continents, it would often take a year before the same employee would be required to come to a meeting/training at corporate headquarters. 2. Employees were initially notified of their upcoming meeting 6 weeks in advance, with a second notice going out at 4 weeks, a third notice going out at 2 weeks, and a fourth notice going out 1 week in advance. Brooke did not tolerate the excuse "I didn't know about the meeting" from the slackers. She still doesn't tolerate that type of excuse to this day, even from her grown children. She has a reputation for being scrupulously honest and fair, but also believes in the consequences of play stupid games, win stupid prizes when it comes to shenanigans. 3. She was given a travel budget to work with, and, because her and I both are offspring of a certified public accountant, we learned very early in life to pay close attention to expenses. This background helped her spot the escalating travel costs due to cancellations, no refund policies, etc. due to the no-shows, thus leading to her motivation to bring her department's budget back in line. She's always been very conservative about money management, which has led to her and her husband being able to enjoy retirement without financial worries. 4. Brooke did not teach any of the meeting/training seminars. Her duties at these events consisted of making sure the facilities were set up appropriately for the type of class, checking participants in, and other similar tasks. Actual seminars were taught by corporate training staff. 5. As noted in the original story, sales staff were the worst offenders when it came to no-shows. Tech support people were rarely missing in action, per Brooke. The golf reference was simply an example of the type of excuses used for not attending that she would receive. 6. It should be noted again that the chargebacks for not showing up when scheduled were not deducted from the employee's basic wages and commissions, they were simply charged back to the employee's submitted expense reports. By not showing up, the employee was stealing from the company the costs of getting that employee to corporate headquarters. This policy change put an end to that quickly. 7. Also, as noted in the introduction, I don't really know if this belongs in this Reddit sub. If it belongs elsewhere in another work-related sub, I would be grateful for suggestions. Make my coworkers cry, I will help karma turn your life upside down. Backstory: I worked at this hotel for over 2 years and was one of 2 people left that went through the training when our hotel changed hotel franchises. During this training, we were told about certain rules the company had. Cast manager, front desk manager. He only was here for 4 to 6 months at this point. Me, I am a nice guy unless you are a bully or entitled person. A few others I will mention as we go through. Story: One afternoon I was scheduled to work second shift 3 to 11. I walked in and both AM front desk coworkers looked like they had been massively crying as their makeup was smeared. My manager looking quite pissed. I ask, "What's wrong?" "Manager, we have a major jerk as a guest. This guy is the highest level on the rewards for the hotel chain. He is very demanding and wants free upgrades, free this or that, and screams anytime he has an interaction with the staff. This guy has made every department call me complaining about him. Now this guy just came to the desk and screamed at these 2 coworkers until they both were crying. These 2 ladies were fresh high school graduates and were very sweet and innocent people. They loved helping people and didn't deserve this treatment. As he is explaining this, I look up this guy's room details. Once my manager finishes explaining everything this guy had done, I see this guy's info. I had a smile from ear to ear. I reply, "Didn't you see he is an employee of a different hotel?" Manager, "Yes, but so what?" I replied, "First off, while you travel as an employee, you are required to behave and be respectful. It is in the fine print on the discount form." I grabbed his form and showed it to the manager. Failure to be respectful can lead to having your employee discount suspended or permanently revoked, and even get you terminated. You need to call this guy's hotel and ask for the GM, then explain to him who you are and what this guy is doing. I look up the hotel phone number and call the hotel and then handed my manager the phone. Manager, after his call ends with the GM, he has an evil and satisfying smile on his face. His GM is steaming mad after I described all the stuff this guy has done. Main switchboard phone rings. I answered, "Hello, thank you for calling hotel name, how may I direct your call?" Caller, "I want to speak to entitled jerk's room, please." I replied, "Absolutely, sir, have a nice day." Transfer the call and looked at my manager and saying with a sarcastic tone, "Someone wanted to talk to entitled jerk, gee, I wonder who that could be." Manager continues, "After he stopped laughing, the GM gave me his personal cell phone number and said if I have any more issues at all to call him immediately. I am leaving the phone number next to the switchboard, if you need it, call him." I told manager, "Your revenge is done, now for my revenge." Manager, wide-eyed, "Oh crap, what are you going to do?" Me smiling a very evil smile, "You'll see." I pick up the phone to make a call. "Hello, Hotel Rewards customer service. Yes, I would like to report someone using reward account while using employee discount on his stay." Customer service, "He can't do that." I replied, "I know, I am calling to report him." I gave her the guest reservation number and rewards member number. I continued, "I bet anything if you dig through this guy's history you will find all his stays are probably at employee discount. Customer service, I am starting a ticket to have this guy's account investigated." I replied, "Thank you." Then hang up the phone. The manager watched as I then remove his rewards number from his stay. My manager had a huge grin on his face. That was awesome. I explain, "Oh, I am not quite finished with him yet. It is time to go spread the news to all departments. He is no longer a rewards member." I made a new key for his room without concierge access. I walked around to every department. As I explained why I was stopping by, everyone had the same reaction as soon as I mentioned the guy's name. "Oh God, now what about this Aholi?" I finished explaining how he was no longer a reward member and if he gives anyone issues to call the front desk immediately, and his GM already probably tore him a new one just a minute ago. Everyone was so happy at this news. I finally went to the concierge room, used the guest new key to void his current key. Then I walked into the room and explained the information to the evening concierge. She cringed at the mention of his name, after explaining she would not have to deal with him again, and asked her to leave the morning person a note about this guy not allowed in the concierge room anymore. She was very happy. While I was gone, evidently the manager explained what we did to the 2 a.m. front desk ladies. The minute I got back to the desk, both my front desk coworkers all came up to me and gave me a huge hug and thanked me so many times. Manager to me after the other coworkers went home, "Do me a huge favor, please." I replied, "Sure, what's up?" Manager, "If I ever piss you off, please come tell me so I can fix the issue." Later that night, entitled jerk comes to the desk, hat in hand, politely saying his key doesn't work. I replied, "Oh, so sorry about that, let me make you a new key." In the best fake smile I can muster. Aftermath: next day I check his rewards account and it is now suspended. Check back next week. Sorry, account number not found. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.